What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. I'm here to give you guys a comic book review today. And today's comic book review is Batman Catwoman #1. Now, this is a book that has been delayed quite a bit. In fact, this book was announced back at when Batman and Catwoman were getting ready to have their wedding. When was that? Like Batman #50? So, it's been a little while ago. That's when this book was announced. It has been delayed and delayed and delayed. It is now a part of the Black Label. That being said, there's nothing really in here content-wise that makes it necessary for this to be a Black Label book. Now, I want to talk about some of the stuff in this book, but I'm going to try to steer clear of any significant spoilers. That being said, I don't feel like I can cover this without talking about a few bits that some people might call spoiler worthy. So this opens up with an older Catwoman who is on a journey, and she's on a journey to find some information. And the person that she comes across is somebody that we're very familiar with in the history of Batman and Catwoman, but we don't really find out what that history is until the end of the first book. There's also a lot of action going on in present day as well. And the action in present day involved some very silly antics that include the Swamp King ordering his crocodiles to attack Batman and Catwoman facing off against an army of crocodiles. It all felt very kind of 1960s Batman, felt pretty silly, felt pretty cheesy, and I didn't really like that take on that part of the story. All that being said, this was not a very linear story, and it jumped around so much that it was really hard to follow. In fact, the way that it jumped around, it really made the story a little unenjoyable. I had really high hopes for this book, and I just didn't feel like there was enough linear action happening to make it worthwhile. I kept on asking myself, what timeline are they in right now? What story thread are they following right now? And it was never really all that clear until you get to the end of the segment. And once you get to the end of the segment, you're like, okay, I know where we're at right now. And then we jump into another segment. And it kept jumping back and forth, and even sideways to some extent, to the point where I just kind of stopped having fun with it. I will say this, though. The end of the book brought on a cameo, a one-page cameo from a character that we've been waiting to see in the DC Comics for years and years and years. Yes, that's right. Finally, we are getting our first look at the comic book version of the Phantasm. He makes a one-panel appearance in this comic, and he looks... she. I'm going to assume it's she, right? She looks great. The Phantasm looks great. And I can't wait to see that part of this story develop. All that being said, though, it's still kind of difficult to see where the story was taking because it jumped around so much. There was a thread about the Joker that they were following. There was just a lot happening here and a very short amount of pages where they were able to tell it. This book may end up being better when we get further into this limited series. I might, after I've read more of the series, I might be able to look back at this book and say, you know what, this book makes a lot more sense now, and I really enjoy it. But right now, it's kind of a convoluted mess, and I really didn't find it all that enjoyable. The art was fine, as the Black Label comics are. The Black Label comics always have a higher level of art, a higher level of, the higher quality paper, a certain glossiness to it that is that makes it very enjoyable to look at. But it doesn't, the art itself and the quality of the book in its own doesn't overcome the sloppiness of the story. Like I said, the story might make a lot more sense when we get deeper into it, but right now I didn't find it that enjoyable. But that's just my take on Batman Catwoman #1. What did you think of Batman Catwoman #1? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your take on it. I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you so much for joining me right here at the LQ Review, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.